Welcome back, guys. Today we got another movie review. We're going to stick with the director we already started with, Christopher Nolan. But this time we're going back. I think this was released in 2014. It's going to be Interstellar.
Yes. No, in no particular order, by the way, because I know we saw Tenet just the other week.
Yeah, so it's really recent, and now we're going back.
Now we're going back to 2014. I guess maybe we love Christopher Nolan that much that because a lot of his movies have to deal with time. So I guess we're just going to go back in time and watch it.
It does, actually, since this was my first time watching it. It did have to do with time.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of his movies have to do with time.
I always love it when I meet somebody who's never seen a Christopher Nolan movie and then they tell you they saw it and I'm like, oh, what'd you think of it? Because it's hard to...
But let the record show that I have seen a Christopher Nolan movie. I just hadn't seen this one.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you thought? Because I just to be full disclosure, I had seen it already, and I saw it again for this review, but I want to know what you thought. Like, really, what did you go into?
Well, before we get into that, Grinch, why don't you tell us what the movie was actually about for those that have not watched it?
Which is sad.
In Earth's future, a global clot rite and second dust bowl are slowly rendering the planet uninhabitable.
Oh shit.
Professor Brand, played by Michael Caine, a brilliant NASA physicist, is working on plans to save mankind by transporting Earth's population to a new home via a wormhole. But first, Brand must send former NASA pilot Cooper, played by Matthew McConaughey, and a team of researchers through the wormhole and across the galaxy to find out which of the 3 planets could be mankind's new home.
All right.
I think that's trademark. You're not allowed to do
I
that.
know, probably, we're going to get copyrighted for that, yeah.
Cut that out.
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, Jessica Chastain and Anne Hathaway were also in this movie, right?
My God.
Hey, I'm sorry, I can't remember the black guy's name.
Which I actually went in not knowing who was in the cast. Mm-hmm. So every time I would see them like introduced, I'm like, oh, they're in this movie. So like Anne Hathaway, I didn't know that.
So hot.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon was in it.
I
was trying to figure out whether that was when he first came out of the pod. I was like, is that Matt Damon?
Can I tell you what I thought first time I saw that?
Yeah.
I mean, besides my mind being fucking blown, I was looking at it and I was like, damn, because I hadn't seen The Martian yet either.
Yeah.
So when I watched it, I was like, oh fuck, is this like, are these two gonna tie into each other? Because in Interstellar, he also has sort of orangey. It's not all orange. It looks similar to the one from The Martian.
Because this one's like a white, but it had orange tint.
Yeah, there was some orange on it. So I was just like, oh fuck. Is this thing going to have something to do with The Martian? And then I looked it up to see if it was the same director. It's not the same director. And I was like, fuck, whatever. But I still, I waited till after the movie to like confirm that. Yeah. So the whole time I was like sitting there like wondering, oh shit, oh fuck. And then when he, spoiler alert, pushes him off of the fucking like cliff or whatever. Yeah. I was just like, oh no, then they can't really, there's no way they tie in together.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because,
which if you haven't seen the film, it's been out. I mean, I'm sad that I waited 6 years to watch it. So, but we are going to be talking about everything, the movie, so we're gonna get in depth.
Yes, and man, I gotta say, this movie for me, rewatching it, revisiting it, I think I loved it even more than my previous watches because there was I was paying attention to it. I didn't take my eyes off the screen for like a second, and yeah, I've seen like YouTube videos of people breaking it down and stuff, but for me this time, I don't know what it was like. I really liked the fact that everything is grounded in reality. But before I go on, what were your first impressions of the movie, Rick? Like, what did you what was your thought process as you went through it?
Well, before I started watching it, I saw how long it was.
Right.
And I started watching it like around 10 last night, and I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this whole movie, like maybe watch an hour and then wait till like this morning to watch it. But I was like, once I started watching it, it was very apparent. And usually with all his movies, I can't stop. Like once I start, you're going to have to finish it all the way through. Like there's movies that you can, but I don't think any of his movies, I ever do that.
No, yeah, almost 3 hours long, 2 hours and 49 minutes. I didn't realize
they were good. And I didn't know where it was
gonna end.
Yeah, how it was gonna end.
Oh, okay.
So you know how at least when I go into a movie, I like to pick up on things to try to figure out how it's gonna end. Mm-hmm. But I did love that they tied everything back. Like at the end, there was a lot of like, oh, this was, you know, like the ghost. Like he was even though in the beginning he said, I can't be your ghost. And then at the end, you know, ends up him being the ghost. I was like, that is very well, like, yeah.
Dude, that shit was so cool.
But technically, remember, he's not a ghost.
Yeah, that shit was so cool.
And he was like, you know, I can't be your ghost because I have to live.
Yeah. Fuck.
It was very good.
That movie is too good.
And if you watch it again with what you know now, and you're like looking at the events happening from the beginning of the film, you're like, damn, dude, that's you, bro.
Let me ask you this. So, when I saw it again, the first time I saw it, I kind of felt, I didn't mind, but I felt how long it was. You know what I mean? Because it is 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
And it's not like 20 or more minutes or around 20 is the credits. It's like, it finishes all the way out.
Yeah. And so the first time I watched it, I did sort of feel how long it was, but I didn't mind. The second time that I watched it, everything was coming a lot quicker. I don't know. I guess maybe I was more into it or more like in line with what's going on. Yeah. So it kind of like the 2 hours just sort of flew by, and I was like, oh shit, he's already in the
black hole.
Not the black hole, but I guess since we are ruining it, all right. So he is in that he's in that fifth dimension.
Oh yeah.
So he's already chilling there, and he meets his daughter, who's an old lady now.
That shit was
that shit
got me, bro. Got me right here. I was like, he's like, when he got that message from his daughter when she was like, hey dad, today's my birthday. I'm the same age as when you said you'd get back. And he had just woken up from hypersleep. I was like, oh, you fuck. When they were like 2 years from Saturn.
That part didn't bother me that much. It bothered me, but not as much as
I thought those sentimental parts were going to give me a bit harder than they actually did.
They did. Like when he was crying watching the messages, I felt that.
I felt the empathy, but I was just like, it is what, you know.
But it's rough too when Casey Affleck was like, "Oh, here's your grandson that he's never met." Why is that funny?
It's funny because I was trying to remember his fucking name the whole time. I'm like, which Affleck is this?
Oh, well, you're not a real fan.
And I kept getting him mistaken with the other guy.
Which guy?
Does he have another brother? The Affleck?
Ben Affleck?
No, not Ben. They have the third.
Casey?
They have a third brother?
Do they? I don't know. If they do, I don't know if he does acting.
I mixing him up with another actor. I can't remember his name right away. Yeah, when he played back those messages, I thought those were, for me, I thought those were pretty intense for me because I felt, because the movie conveys the idea that time, you know, is relative. So if you remember do you remember how long it said they were going to take to get to Saturn when they first took off from Earth?
Yeah, because, well, in months-wise, because they said 8 months and then 14 months.
Yeah, 8 to Mars and then 14 to fucking Saturn, right, where the wormhole, where the wormhole is. I thought that was crazy. I was like, damn, 2 years in hyper chamber sleep.
What I thought was more crazy than that was every hour that they were on the planet that they got onto was about 7 years long.
Yeah, next to the big gargantuan black hole. That was crazy, right? Are you familiar with that?
Well, the black hole is called Gargantua.
Yeah, Gargantua.
I'm gonna need you to be fucking accurate in your wording here.
Yeah, what did you think about that when they were explaining how the science behind how the stronger the gravity is, the more time,
the less time is
the less time, right, you have, or the more time passes by on Earth, right? That's the example they used. That Earth, right here we have 24-hour night cycles, day and night cycles. Over there they were like 7 years for what they calculated, right? Because they made a grave error. They thought that 1 hour was 7 years on the planet that they first visited. When they got back, they realized it was not.
That's not what happened. They got stuck, so they stayed longer than the initial hour that they planned on being there.
Right.
And by the time that the ship stopped being flooded with all the water and all the shit, more time has passed. So. Yeah, I don't remember how long it ended up being, but it was more than 7. It was like 14 years, something. Yeah.
Because I was so confused. I was like, they calculated that about an hour is 7 years, and they said that it's going to take about 2 hours.
Yeah, because the plan was it was supposed to take max 1 hour, right. Because the only person that was really concerned about the time was McConaughey because he has a family and he's thinking about completing the mission and actually finding where they need to go and then getting back when everyone else is sort of like no, we're just gonna take our time and like try to fucking get all this research in and blah blah, because they don't have families and they're not really worried about it.
Yeah.
So
that seems like that was interesting.
Yeah, so the initial idea was to land on the planet, pick up that the information from the one guy who was on that planet already, and just bounce, just dip from there. But that planet has a secret.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of the planets they visited?
It's all water.
Well, yeah, but nobody knew that. Yeah, it's all water, but every few minutes there's just a giant wave.
Yeah,
tsunami. It's a huge tsunami that fucking engulfs basically the whole planet, and it's just constant. It's just always happening. So the last guy that landed there didn't know that. So when he landed, he or she, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was a male. So he got there, and he didn't know. So he got.
Literally,
he was just basically killed. Apparently. Yeah, in minutes. Yeah, they killed him. The wave came. It destroyed his ship. But they did find the box.
The black box.
Yeah, right? The black box.
Yeah.
And Anne Hathaway gets stuck underneath it because she gets hit by sort of the wave a little bit, and they have to go back and try to save her.
That part went very quickly.
Yeah, that was really intense. Yeah.
So I didn't know when she said, just leave me. I was like, what's wrong with your legs? I didn't see that something fell on her. So I was like, is it too far for you to run? Like, why are you not even trying to move?
Dude, how badass were those robots too?
When it started like essentially running
towards it, dude,
I was like, oh, so these things can do more than, because at first you only see like the way they moved. It was almost like it was only sidearms that they were just almost like they had crutches.
Yeah.
And that was it. It wasn't until that scene that you see like it actually is like, it can morph into whatever.
It's basically a transformer.
Yeah, whatever it needs to do at the time.
Yeah, no.
I think it's better though. Transformers are annoying. Michael Bay can go fuck himself. I'm just kidding. No, I'm joking. No, I think they're better.
Those TARS, they're Marines, right? Those robots are considered Marines so in the world of Interstellar,
were they?
Apparently,
I think so.
Not apparently. What's happened is there's no more food. They're running out of food. The world is running out of food. That there are no wars, right? That everybody's so concerned about feeding themselves that they abolish the military, right? Because there are no soldiers anymore, apparently, because there are no wars to fight in. And they created these robots to supplement that. What did you think about when they found...
it's very vague, though. There's a reason that they're having trouble growing food and stuff.
They said that it had to do with the blight. That's what they called it, the blight. It was essentially like something that was consuming all the nitrogen in the air, right? And it was causing our oxygen levels to drop. So not enough oxygen, hence not enough. The plants can't photosynthesize, and we can't cultivate. So that was the idea. That they called it the blight. That this thing is consuming all the nitrogen, therefore not enough oxygen is being created. And Matthew McConaughey finds himself at NASA, which is apparently the most secret organization at the time, because nobody wants to spend money on rockets when we have issues here on Earth, which I thought was a great point, because there are a lot of people who make that argument. I don't know if you've heard of it, Rick, where it's like, why are we spending money on NASA to send rockets into space when we could be spending, $250 million on, things here, resources for Earth? And, I thought that was a bit of a interesting thing. I know it came out in 2014, and it was probably shot in the early 2010s. So I assumed that a lot of the ideas that going on at the time, which is weird to say because it's been a decade, right? We can say the 2010s and shit, the 2000s. The idea that NASA is, trying to send pioneers into space to help find other planets where humans could one day live if something were to happen on Earth. And, well, do you remember what happens when we transition from them being up in space to back here with Murph, right? Matthew McConaughey's daughter, Coop's daughter, Murph, right? She becomes a physicist, right? Mm-hmm. With Michael Caine. Shout out to Michael Caine. Great actor.
I know. I was so happy that when I saw him on screen, I was like, okay, I can watch this movie.
Yeah. What did you think about the major spoiler in the movie where, they find out that these missions were essentially suicide missions?
Yeah, well, I didn't think they were suicide missions per se. Mm-hmm. I thought they were, those who were going out there, and if they found a planet that we could live again, it was just we weren't gonna take anybody on Earth anymore. It was just they were gonna start a colony there. So it wasn't really a suicide. It was because the whole nobody was sure that these planets can hold life. However, so if you got a planet that just wasn't like the one with the tsunamis, yeah, you were fucked. But those whoever found one, and they're good.
Yeah. That it was like they sent in the beginning. They said that they sent about like
12. It was 12.
It was like 12, which is funny because they glance over the photos, but we don't see Matt Damon's. Right?
I didn't. I thought. I think they did show him, but
might have been.
I could have swore maybe I was watching it on my phone, and I have bad eyesight.
Yeah.
I thought Dr. Mann, because I think he was on those photos. I thought he was Asian.
Yeah, I thought so too.
That's why when I didn't think Matt Damon was in the movie. And then when he comes out, which I like Matt Damon,
yes,
but I've never hated him more in my life than watching him what he does.
Can you tell what does he do? What did he do?
Essentially, he's a selfish prick.
Yes.
In this movie,
I really
because
want to talk about this, yeah.
he calls out saying that sends those messages saying, hey, this is a good planet, come and get me, essentially, so we can reunite and then start getting our resources ready and all whatever, right? Which wasn't the case. That planet was what, like 67 hours long in the day, which was freezing. Yes. And then at night it was like 63 hours.
Yeah.
And it's even more cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even colder. Yes.
Even colder. So nobody could survive out there.
Yeah. It was definitely.
And he just lied about all the data so that somebody can come and pick him up so that he would not die. Because according to him, he was like, yeah, I was prepared or whatever, but it wasn't until I got here that
my survival
instincts kicked in and I didn't want to die. But he was like,
he called him a coward. Matthew
he was a coward.
My favorite line. He's like, you fucking coward.
He's such a coward.
Man, I love McConaughey, dude.
And then the whole scene where he's trying to lock into the what is it called? The Endurance?
Yeah, the
Endurance. The bigger ship. And he couldn't do it. And
they're telling him.
Coops is trying to tell him, like, don't lock in. Like, don't attempt to dock. He said, okay, then do not open the... Everything he was telling him not to do, he was doing it, right? Step by step. So I'm happy he died. It just, to me, it was like it was too quick.
I know,
because I like people to realize that they had made a mistake, and I think with that, maybe when he got shot into space before he died, he was like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done any of this."
And Hathaway is like, he's like, he wouldn't really maroon us, would he? And McConaughey's like, he is marooning us, and she's like, "Oh fuck!" Like, it's like, I don't know. I was really pissed. I was like, because I forgot how it goes down. Like when he leaves them behind, like it escalates really quickly from them finding out that the missions were a sham. There was no plan A for them to come back and send messages and be like, this planet is habitable. They find out, he's like, no, there's no one coming, it's just us, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. And then he tells McConaughey, oh, let's go. When he's asking him, he's like, you're gonna need a long distance communicator and are you full on oxygen? I got the feeling, I'm like, this dude is like gonna try and...
No, when he said, your survival instincts kick in, and said something about like family. The last thing you will picture in your mind is going to be your kids. I was like, oh, he's gonna try to kill him.
Yeah.
There was no doubt in my mind. I was just trying to wait how he was gonna do it.
Right? I didn't see it coming.
Oh, I was like, he's gonna, and I kind of knew it was gonna be a cliff. I was like, it's so cliche. Just do something better.
I don't know. When I saw that part, I was so like hyper focused. Like I didn't see any of that coming. I was just like, all right, well, he's showing him around, and now they're on top of this cliff.
Because it's kind of the classic thing that the villain does, and kind of like
does
that monologue where it's like tells you about life a little bit.
Yeah,
that was exactly what he was doing. And I was like, yep, here it comes. And I was upset
because you saw it coming.
Because I saw it coming, but I also like Matt Damon. So I was like, don't do this to man. Like,
don't make him
man,
a dick.
Don't be like
don't
this.
make him a coward.
He played it perfectly. And I was kind of sad that What I didn't see coming was the explosion. Was the self-destruct
the base
robot? Yeah, because I was just like, I knew something that was the. I thought this is what I thought though, that was gonna be the key of how they found out that he was lying. I thought once it turned on, it was gonna start saying like, this place is inhabitable. You guys need to leave or whatever. I did not see the explosion coming, which I was upset about, because the guy was like, guy was great.
He's like, can I see? Oh.
This is not good.
And then he decided to wait on the ship, right, while they were on the water planet at first, which caused them to lose like close to 23 years of time. And they came back, and
he aged well.
He did age well, right? Hey, black don't crack.
Who are you talking about? Oh, the guy on the ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, another moment too, I didn't remember fully prior to watching it again, was when they woke up Matt Damon, and he immediately started crying.
Yeah. Well, you know what? What I just realized though, the dude that was left on the ship while they were on that planet, I don't think he's really being affected as much by Earth time in that part of the galaxy as well.
Yeah.
But I only just thought of that right now.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
I don't know. He said he was waiting.
He was waiting, but
Did
he say that? Okay, never mind.
But you're right though. I see what you're saying. I don't think he aged 23 years like internally.
Physically.
Yeah. Physically. He might have aged due to whatever circumstances an astronaut has to go through to live in space. I'm sure they age.
Also, by the way, if you're in space for 23, I mean, they have gravity on the ships. Yeah, so never mind. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, if they had the gravity and things, then maybe he would be growing. But I thought it was sad because he's like, I didn't know if you guys were gonna come back or not, and I didn't think sleeping my life away would be any healthier than just dying naturally. I thought that was really sad because it's like, fuck, like you don't know if your companions are coming back.
That's part of the mission, man. That's part of the mission.
Yeah, fuck. And then 23 years, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, fuck.
Well, he wasn't like waiting for 20. He went to the hypersleep for a while. Yeah, I don't remember how long he said
what
though.
It feels like to dogs. You know how apparently dogs experience.
I really doubt it.
What do they say? A year is 7 years in dog years?
Yeah, 7 years in dog years. Yeah.
Like, I bet that's just what it feels like. You're just like waiting for your master to come home. That came out wrong, but and it's hilarious to me that
it didn't, but because your mind immediately goes there, now it's now you've done it.
No, yeah, but I really, man, there's so many parts. One of my favorite parts in Interstellar was when they're traveling through the wormhole. Man, the soundtrack, right? That moment.
It's only McConaughey that goes through. Only Cooper goes through the black hole.
Sorry, I meant to say wormhole. When they're traveling through the wormhole, right?
So in the beginning, when all of them are
right, and when they get to Saturn, they get to the wormhole, and they're getting ready to go through it, and they're just like prepping, and they're just and McConaughey is just asking questions like, is that what a wormhole looks like? I've never seen one before. They explain it, right? The idea
that whole sphere thing, because he thought it was just essentially what
like a wormhole.
I think it is. Yeah, it's just a hole you just go through
that a worm can fit through. And so the way they explained it in the movie, which is generally how most people explain it, is like if you have a piece of paper and you draw a line from one end to the other, right? It's a two-dimensional space. You want to get from point A to point B. Through the wormhole, what they did was they folded the paper so that A and B meet, so that the space between them is bent or contracted, so that they could go from point A to point B without having to travel.
Horrible explanation.
It's a horrible explanation, but in the movie, they make it clear.
Yeah, so go watch the movie.
They make it clear to the audience, or go take a fucking astronomy class.
No, don't do that.
No,
just watch the movie. You don't have to take an astronomy class to watch the movie.
If you ever get a chance to take,
also you might want to take astrology, not astronomy.
No, astronomy. Don't listen to that astrology BS.
Okay.
The wormhole scene was super cool. I really enjoyed the soundtrack. I'm probably going to listen to it today or something a little bit. I really liked the sound of them traveling through the wormhole when he travels through the black hole, and it's like this tense moment where his ship is like burning up on re-entry. That's what it looks like. when you can see the sparks coming off the ship.
Okay, now you confuse me. Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about in the beginning, or are you talking about the end?
Both. The one they travel through that wormhole, and then the second one again.
Because then he travels by himself. That's when his ship starts getting all damaged.
Pretty sure the second one is the wormhole.
The second one?
Yeah.
No, the second one is the dark hole, the gargantuan.
Gargantua.
Gargantua, yeah.
This is important to me. You got to get this right, okay?
I don't speak Italian, that's why.
It's not Italian.
Is it Latin?
I don't know the origin of the word. I just know the way to pronounce it.
Gargantuan, yeah. It's really cool. It's really cool for me. What about you, Grinch? Do you remember any favorite parts of the movie for you, like that stood out?
Every single moment.
Really?
No, my favorite part is when he starts slipping into the fucking fourth and fifth dimension.
Yeah, that's Tesseract.
Oh my god, it's just so cool.
Are you into stuff like that? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
What is it that like you thought, like, what's your idea behind like them constructing? Because we know that the people who made that Tesseract are the humans from the future, right? Eventually, that's what they say. One day, humans will have the power to harness gravity and send messages through time, right? Gravity. And love, right? Because apparently love is the one thing that conquers time and space, right? Because that's what Anne Hathaway said, that horny little girl. Fuck, that shit was hilarious.
You were the worst at this.
Dude, no, bro, it's true, right? She literally was she was in love with the doctor on that other planet, which ended up being a habitable planet, right? Remember?
Yeah, but he was dead.
Right, but hey, at least McConaughey... Dude, McConaughey got ready so fast to get back out into space when his daughter was like, yo, go find Dr. What's her, Anne Hathaway or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, I'm about to go get fucking laid. Like, that's like the first thing that crossed my mind. Because I'm like, yeah, repopulation, you got to start a new colony. I'm like, I know you looking to get back to her. Right? Because even in the beginning, they had a bit of a chemistry thing.
No, I don't think it was that.
I think it was more important to him to find his children.
No, he was done.
No. Once he came back and she was like, go...
Oh, you're talking about that? Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
But I don't think it was like
course.
go be with her and find a life. It was more like just like in the beginning, I guess he didn't feel fulfilled just doing, like, obviously being a farmer.
Farming, yeah.
And then when he came back, it was like, well, what else is he gonna do? Because there's nothing for him to do.
A NASA astronaut, and like they're like, oh yeah, well, you can't do this anymore. You got to go farm.
I know.
Yeah, so that's why
how shitty
it was like, no, I have to go and do more. Essentially, it's just like he's gonna just keep doing more missions and whatever makes him happy. But it wasn't like, oh, yeah, that's a nice piece of ass. Let me go back to it. That's not, I don't think, what they intended to do with the movie.
That's just for me. I was just like, man, she's probably like waiting for this dude. Like, fuck, I'm all alone.
I don't even think that was her thought either.
Definitely. Yeah, she thought she was alone, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
but the one thing I kind of didn't like about this movie is it shows how selfish people are.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was it highlighted it very through all characters. Yeah, I didn't like that.
Interesting.
I wasn't a big fan of that.
You're not a fan of the human element?
Christopher Nolan did a really good job.
I'm not.
No, for me, let's see one of the parts I didn't like, and this really is the only part I didn't like, is right after Matt Damon blows himself up, and then McConaughey is like, all right, I'm going to speed to the Endurance, and I'm going to try and dock with it while it's spinning, X amount of miles per hour.
You didn't like that part?
Yeah, because the suspension of disbelief for me, it's like they're traveling. He's generating all these he's generating so much force just to spin the ship and be able to dock with it properly. That when Matt Damon wasn't able to do the docking procedure properly, obviously he's not a pilot, so because you could see that his precision when trying to dock with the Endurance was.
But Matthew McConaughey wasn't docking it either.
He was trying to dock, right? Because he couldn't.
No, he wasn't docking it. It was the all the robots look alike to me, so I don't know which one it was. Yes, that was the one. Just like in the beginning, it wasn't Coop that actually docked it. He brought it back, and it was the guy that died first that docked it.
Right. What happened was as they're approaching.
You understand? It's a two-part thing. It's whoever's the pilot, and backs up essentially the ship and tries to get it aligned, but it's the person who's in the back who docks it is the one that has to get it
to lock in.
Yes. Well, that's why it wasn't him. All he was trying to do was make sure that it was lined up. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it wasn't up to him to lock it.
Oh, right. No, that's what I meant. That he couldn't align it up properly for the mechanism to latch on. And they mentioned that TARS, one of the robots, had already deprogrammed or disabled the auto docking procedure. And from there, it just escalates. Like, I can just see it going up and up and up. And so when Matthew McConaughey, like, for me, I don't know why, I like my suspension of disbelief. Like, I understand that, like, he's a pilot and he has experience, you know, with G-forces, and his body can handle, like, high amounts of stress. And so for me, I was like, damn, like, right here, I would have just assumed we were fucked. Like, I would have just been like, you know what?
You also have to consider that where he is, there is no gravity, so he's not generating more gravity than he's already experiencing.
Right. So that inertia that he created when he started to try and I thought that, for me, that sequence where they latch on while they're, like, you know, spinning, and he's trying to do it, like, almost eyeballing it with TARS. For me, I thought I'm not saying I, like, totally did not like that part. I just didn't like the logic behind it. I'm like, fuck, like, that just seems almost too difficult to do.
It makes me so happy because I'm 90% sure Neil deGrasse Tyson said it's plausible.
It's I don't.
So I just liked that kind of just shit all over you. You're like, I don't believe it. It's not. Like, it can't happen. No, it can't happen. It can definitely happen. Because literally all that's happening is the endurance is spinning, because that's how it generates its own gravitational force inside of itself. So literally all he has to do is
match the speed.
Match the speed of his ship and dock, and he's good to go.
Yeah, that's.
But no, that's too crazy. That can't happen.
I just think it's a very difficult task, and for McConaughey to have pulled it off while the robot is helping him out, which I thought was interesting that I didn't think we brought up, is that, like, they rely a lot on the robots for the humans.
Yeah, right? Of course.
They say one of them saves Anne Hathaway, the other one helps dock and transmit data back to Matthew McConaughey. Really, that's the only part I probably just didn't like as much as everything else. But that's maybe just the one low point in the movie for me. Other than that, the movie just kept me engaged the whole time. Like, even when I thought, I was like, oh, this part seems a little dumb, then they would come back with the, oh, but you thought, and then now look what's happening. I thought that was interesting. What about you, Grinch? I know you said you liked the whole movie, but anything you disliked?
I'm just on time, and it's over. We're talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson fact-checked Interstellar, and it passed.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
But did you dislike anything about the movie?
It was great. I just want you to go fuck yourself for that last comment.
Not even like the sound, I know, like, or the acting.
Everything was fucking
that's
amazing.
Good. That's what's up. What about you, Rich?
5 stars through the roof.
I said which one. The only thing that bothered me was the whole humanity thing, but that's to be expected. It's not like I didn't know. I just expected more.
Talk about a long distance relationship. You know what I mean? With Hathaway and
man, that was so unfunny.
Right?
That was not funny.
That's what I'm saying. No, like,
I see what you were going for with that shit.
No, I meant it literally. Like, not.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I meant it literally, not to be funny, because, like, I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, man, like, how selfish of her to want to do this just to be with her beloved. I'm not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All of them were selfish in their own right, and none of it was. I guess there was no, like, to do it for humanity. All of them had their own selfish motives.
What about the black guy?
Maybe he was the closest to it. But even when he went out there, he knew that this wasn't a mission to get everyone off.
Yeah, everyone was tracking that except for McConaughey.
Yeah, no. Even for him, it was his kids. Because the first thing he did once he entered the dimensions...
I mean, generally, like, nobody else had plans to go back to Earth.
Oh, no, yeah.
Except
other
for
than him,
yeah.
Because he knew that they weren't going to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that... Personally, for me, I am excited for the future of space travel. Like, I would be down to travel interstellar.
The thing about traveling in space is you got to have the right stuff. That's the word on the street.
If the movie is anything to go by, then yeah, for sure. Like
full offense intended. I don't think you have the right stuff.
I would do it. I'll buy one of those.
No, you're. Especially with this whole thing, right? Especially, the traveling, and one of the biggest element in this was time.
Yeah.
You're telling me you can't manage 24 hours here. And you're gonna tell me that you're gonna manage time and space? I would not
that actually
get you on
gave
board.
me kind of a little bit of anxiety because when I started hearing them talk about time.
That's all it took. That's all.
I was just like, fuck, like 2 years, 20 years.
You think you like given the opportunity and they said, listen, you're never gonna come back to Earth. You're never gonna see your family or friends again.
Look.
You think you'd be able to do it?
To be super serious, if I did now,
I could definitely do it. 100%.
I could do it.
100%.
There's no point.
Because I don't have a family. I don't have kids of my own. At this point right now in my life, if NASA was like, we are looking for volunteers, I'd be like.
But you gotta understand that Tinder doesn't work out there. So you lose that.
Fuck. I don't want. They probably got.
Think about it.
Oh, no, life without Tinder. Look how upset
Think about it.
It's gonna say, you know how you can match up with people who are on other countries? You can pay for that service. I'm gonna just be I'm gonna be in space. It's gonna say like 83 million miles away.
That's one way to figure out if a planet is
populated, right?
But we can get to. I think we went through everything. So if you guys want to give your rating, you already said
rating and final thoughts.
50,000 stars. All of the stars. Everything.
Okay,
everything.
Yeah. So all of the stars.
In the sky, no pun intended.
All of them.
Not gonna give them all the stars. I'm thinking about 4.5.
You and maybe 2 other people on the planet are that.
Everyone else on IMDb, the 1,480,000 people who reviewed this movie.
That's an 8.6.
It's an 8.6 out of 10, which is
really
you divide that in half. That's 4.3.
That's 4.3, and you're giving it a 4.5. That's
so good. Fuck you.
I'll take any final thoughts? Fine. Would you watch it again? Rewatch it?
I would definitely rewatch it.
This guy's favorite phrase lately is final thoughts.
You gotta be. For me, yeah.
Which I didn't even mention my favorite part.
Oh.
It's very quick and it's very subtle. Is where Anne Hathaway is explaining time to him and saying, "This is a message to everybody. You can't go back in time, so you can't get time back. You can only the way it works is." All it is you're going through time. You just can't.
Yeah.
You can't get the time back that you wasted.
Yeah, because McConaughey is panicking.
And he's like, "Can we find a way to go back in time and get all that time back?" And she's like, I love that message. It's like, that's you just wasted all that time.
Yeah, that made me feel a certain kind of way. I was like, damn, we really can't gain it back, and which is a real serious message. For me, I have to give it a 5 out of 5. And this is not me being biased. I rewatching it last night after it'd been a while. Man, the movie is just a wonderful adventure of a man on a journey through space and time, literally. There was a lot. No specific parts really stood out to me, but for the most part, the movie. Actually, sorry, I'm wrong. I wanted us to start off the review with the poem that Michael Caine recites.
Oh God!
It's the last stanza in the poem because it's a.
That might be the part that I dislike the most. Yeah, I don't like those cheesy.
Without these guys being total, unfeeling.
And then Matt Damon said it again, like while he was dying. I was just like, oh my God,
I was like, oh, you bitch! You don't get to say that because
you don't get to say Michael Caine's words to you.
You don't get to fucking repeat them.
Which, if he ever started a podcast, his voice is perfect for it.
Oh yeah,
Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
because he's reciting the poem while they're like going out to space, so it just shows like space and in his voice. I was like, this is very soothing.
He does have a very soothing voice.
It was really sad too when he's saying it because now that he's lying to them, like they don't know that they're not coming back. Oh man, no, I just
this is one guy to really look up to if you're an aspiring actor or something because there's a talk he does at a round table where they asked him how long did it take for you to get your big break, and he said 9 years. He was doing 9 years in little theater before he caught his big break on the West End. And imagine if he hadn't.
Damn.
All the shit that would have missed out on.
He's great. No, I just wanted to mention that poem actually. If I don't know if you want to pull it up or if I should just give me the author's name. I just want to mention that like that poem actually was written for the author's dying father, and it's actually one of my favorite poems. I do really enjoy it. That's why rewatching it, like understanding the kind of like. I'm not gonna. You can if you want. You can read it. What's the name of the author, please? Of the poem. I just pulled it up. I don't have the name of the author. Hold on, let me see real quick. Yeah, so I just want to say that because I actually do enjoy that poem. It's a nice one, and it's. It was by a Welsh poet named Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas, yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, really great poem. I recommend you read the whole thing, not just the last stanza, because that's like the more popular stanza. But yeah, that's so 5 out of 5 for me. Great movie, would rewatch and recommend.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. So yeah, let us know if you agree. I guess I'm the only one that was not in agreement with the 5 out of 5.
But you basically, if you round up 5, that's 5.
That's not what we're doing here.
We're not
rounding up.
Yeah, that's nasty.
I don't care. I'm staying with mine. Not this one over here falls to peer pressure.
I'll give it a 6 out of 5. Yeah, great movie. Yeah, thanks again, though, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Until next time. Peace.